Hello and welcome back to Art of Intermediate 1. My name is John and let's start now lesson 2 by picking off where we left off with the homework from lesson 1. So please get your pink workbook out and I'd like you in pairs to take 10 minutes please. 10 minutes and just check through your homework together. Make sure you all have the same answers. When you've done that, then we will look at the answers together. So check together. Make sure you have the same answers for your homework. Okay, now that you have checked your homework together, let's have a look. So we started on page 4 and I will put the answers up now for you to check your homework. Okay, so the answers to the first exercise are up. Please check them against your own. Number 2 is walking, something that's happening now, present continuous. Number 3, have been walking, present perfect continuous. We are still walking, but we use the continuous tense to show a long period of time. Was taken, a passive. One of the footballers, he doesn't take to the hospital, but obviously he was very sick, very tired. He was taken by other people to the hospital. Number 5, will take it. Sometimes when we want to buy something, we'll say, yep, this is good, I'll take it. Number 6, has taken. Again, obviously a present perfect, something that happened in the past, but it affects the future. Affects the present, where clearly there's no meat because the dog has taken it. Number 7, we need a new car. We have had this one for ages. A very simple present perfect, simple there. Number 8, we were having past continuous. And then number 9, don't phone. We are having. We could also say we are going to have, or we will be having even. Future tense there. Number 10, our sandwiches are made daily, present simple, routine. Sandwiches obviously don't make themselves, so that one's a passive. Number 11, have you heard about Lenny? He has been made, present perfect passive. Number 12, will have. 13, wash. They are being washed. Again, a passive tense. And we're talking about the future. Sorry, we're talking about the present. Number 14, it was washed. Passive again, passive, past, simple, passive. Number 15, he had been washing the car, or he has been washing the car, would also be okay. Here we would probably best use the past perfect because we're already talking in the past with Simon was wet, so the past before the past. Sells, number 16, nice and simple, routines, present simple. Number 17, will be sold. An obvious future tense there. Number 18, will have been sold, is already done for you. That's of course a future perfect tense. And then 19, will have been teaching, again, future perfect continuous there. And the children were being taught, and then a nice past continuous. Okay, please, if you have any questions, do ask your teacher or get him to play this video back. Let's move on to the next exercise. Okay, the answers to the second exercise are up on the screen. Please check them against what you have written. If you have any questions, then please do ask your teacher and he or she will be able to help you. Okay, when you've checked those, let's move on now to the next exercise on the next page. Okay, I've put those answers up for you now, correcting the sentences. Please do have a look. If you have any questions, please ask your teacher. Just very quickly, one other thing I do want to highlight is question 8, which the exercise says, I can't decide what to buy my brother for his birthday. Perhaps I'm going to get him a new shirt. Of course, we're thinking about a decision that we're making now, something we're not sure about, so that should be perhaps I'll get him a new shirt. Please check the answers up on the screen are the same as the one in your book. If you have any questions, please do ask your teacher and he or she will be able to help. Okay, let's look at the next exercise where we had to fill in the gaps with the verbs. I'll put the answers up now. Okay, those answers are now up on the screen, so please take the time to check. Make sure that you have the same answers as I've posted, and then we can move on to the next page of the homework. Please check now. Again, if you have any questions, please do ask your teacher. Okay, the last page was mainly dealing with the passives, so I will put the answers for the first exercise up. Please then check them. The answers to the first part of the exercise are now up on the board, so please make sure you have a look as we change the sentences from active to passive. Please check your answers with mine. and then we'll move on. I'll put the answers up to the next exercise. Okay, those answers are up now. Please pay careful attention to the verbs. And again, if you have any questions, please do ask your teacher. Check your answers in your book with the answers up on the screen now, please. Okay, I've put the answers to the last exercise up now, where you had to put the verbs in the brackets into the correct tense. So please now again check your answers. And when you finish that, then we'll move on back to our textbook to begin our lesson again. Please check your answers now. Okay then, in your student book, let's turn to the page that we are going to start on for this. So please turn to page 8 and let's do a little bit more work on just making sure that we can identify those tenses properly. As you can see, once again, I've drawn a box around the exercise that we're going to be looking at. So what I'd like you to do, please, is I'd like you to just complete those tense charts. We have active tenses, simple and continuous, passive tenses, simple and also continuous. I'd like you to work together, please, in your pairs. Work together in pairs, and with the verb work, please just fill in those boxes. So for example, active simple present simple is he works. Active continuous present continuous is we are working. Do the same for past, she and the verb work, I and the verb work, and complete those tables, both active and also passive tenses. Please work in pairs. Please take 5 minutes to complete this. Okay, so I will put the answers up now. Please check against your work. Okay, those answers are up now. Please check them against your answers in your book and make sure that if you have any corrections, please correct them now. Okay, so I would like you to listen very carefully to the recording. We're going to hear some different lines from some conversations, and I'd like you to decide what's happening, who's talking, and I'd like you to identify the tense as well. Also, if you can, I'd like you to see if there are any contractions where it has been made shorter. So please, I'd like you to get ready now to listen to the tape.
Tape script 1.3. 1.
Are you being served, sir?
Oh, just looking, thank you.
2.
I've heard that she's been seeing a lot of Patrick recently.
3.
I'll be seeing Bill this afternoon. I'll tell him the good news then.
4.
Apparently, he was overtaking on a bend at 70 miles per hour when they stopped him.
5.
I hadn't seen her since she was a little girl, and she'd changed beyond all recognition.
6.
Nobody will listen to him. He's the kind of guy who isn't believed by anyone.
7.
I haven't been told yet if I've got it. I'll be told in writing sometime next week.
8.
Do you have any idea which address it was sent to?
Okay, so if you would like to hear that again, please ask your teacher to play the recording again. And now I will just put up some answers, some notes about the conversations. Please make sure you check with what you had discussed in your pairs. Again, if you need to hear that again, please do ask your teacher to play the recording again. Okay, I've put up some notes now about the tenses and the sentences that we heard in the passage, in the listening passage. So please, what I'd like you to do is just check through those now. I think they should be self-explanatory, but if you do have any questions, please do ask your teacher, and we can make sure that there are no problems there. We can see often that we are using in a couple of sentences, we're using different tenses to talk about different times, different actions that are affected by an action in the previous passage. When you have checked these answers and when you are happy with this, please let your teacher know, and then we can move on to the next part of the passage. Okay, so moving on from that exercise, please now look at exercise 4, which I have drawn another box around, talking about you. We have some sentences here. We have the beginnings of some sentences, and what I'd like you to do, I'd like you to work with a partner, so please do work together. It's always easier if you work together, and I'd like you to just complete those sentences using a range of tenses. So for example, number 1, at weekends I often, well, we can use, we know our present simple because we're talking about our routine. We could maybe say something like, at weekends I often go shopping. So we're using our present simple and our routines. Working with a partner, please take 5 minutes. I'd like you to use your own ideas about your life and please finish off those sentences. Okay, so now that you have written some of your ideas for the sentence, we're going to listen to the tape, and the tape has some other suggestions as well. Obviously, your ideas, your sentences will probably be very different from the ones they have, but what I'd like you to do is just make sure you compare and get the same tenses as the ones they have used with their verbs. So please now take a moment, listen to the tape, and just compare, make sure you've used the same tenses.
Tape script 1.4. 1.
At weekends, I often don't bother getting up till lunchtime.
Absolutely. Why bother if you don't have to?
2.
My parents have never had a crossword in all their married lives.
Really? Mine are at it all the time.
3.
I don't think I'll ever master this DVD player.
Well, don't ask me. I can't even find the on-off button.
4.
I was saying to a friend just the other day that I hadn't seen you for ages.
I know. How long has it been?
5.
I hate Mondays because nothing ever goes right on a Monday.
Just Mondays, eh? Huh. Aren't you the lucky one?
6.
I just arrived home last night when I realised I'd left my briefcase on the bus.
Well, you won't see that again.
7.
I was just getting ready to go out this morning when my grandmother rang for a chat. It's so frustrating.
I know, and you feel really bad if you say it's not a good time.
8.
I've been told that our teacher wears purple pyjamas in bed. Who on earth told you that?
9.
In my very first English lesson, I was taught to introduce myself and say hello.
I was taught to say, the cat runs after the mouse, and stuff like that. Useful, huh?
10.
The reason I'm learning English is because it's spoken all over the world.
True, but isn't Chinese spoken by more people?
I hope you all got the same tenses and some similar ideas perhaps. If you would like to hear that recording again, of course, please do ask your teacher to wind back this recording and play that tape for you again. Okay, let's just have a look at the spoken English missing words out box, which I've put a black outline around for you to look at. Quite often when we are speaking English, we miss out some words just to make it a little bit easier, just to make our language a little bit smoother. So if we look at number 1, heard about Jane and John splitting up, we can see obviously the subject and the auxiliary have actually been left out of that sentence. The sentence, of course, should be, have you heard about Jane and John splitting up? But to make it easier for us, we miss out that auxiliary. Working with your partner, please, I'd like you to just take 5 minutes, and I would like you to just look at sentences 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, and just see if you can find which words have been missed out. Please work with a partner and take 5 minutes. Okay. So I'll put those answers up now and you can just check and see if you got the right words. Okay, I've put those sentences up now. As you can see, most of what we're missing out are actually the auxiliaries and the subjects. Number 2, leaving already? Are you leaving already? Number 4, been waiting long? Have you been waiting long? Number 5, are you doing anything interesting? Number 6, we just missed the subject out here. I like the car. Bye, Joe is a contraction from goodbye, Joe. And of course, I'll see you later. Number 8, just coming, I'm just coming. Number 9, do you want a lift is the full sentence. And number 10, seen Jim lately? Have you seen Jim lately? I'll just correct number 7 as well and make sure we have that auxiliary in. Okay, so just to correct number 7, goodbye, Joe, I'll see you later. Again, it's a subject and an auxiliary that have been missed out of that sentence. Okay, so make sure you have checked those and you have the same answers as I do. If you have any questions, of course, please do talk to your teacher and he can rewind this recording back or explain to you. Okay, let's move on to the next page. Okay, so on the next page we're going to do a little bit of listening and also we're going to try and complete a conversation. So first of all, what I'd like you to do, I'm going to play the tape and I'd like you to just look at the questions that we have in exercise 6. Again, I've put a black box around it. I'd like you to listen to the tape and just try and answer those questions, please.
Tape script 1.6. A long-distance phone call.
Hello?
Dad, it's me, Kirsty.
Kirsty, how are you? How's it all going?
I'm fine, but still a bit jet-lagged.
I can imagine. What exactly is the time difference over there?
It's 9 hours ahead. I just can't get used to it. Last night I lay awake all night, and then today I nearly fell asleep at work in the middle of a meeting.
You poor thing. And what's work like?
It's early days, but I think it's going to be really good. It's a big company, but everybody's being so kind and helpful. I've been trying to find out how everything works.
And what about Tokyo? What's it like? Have you seen much of the city yet?
I've seen a bit. It just seems such a big, busy city. I don't see how I'll ever find my way round it.
I know. Big cities can seem really strange and frightening at first. Is it anything like London?
No, it's nothing like London. It's like nowhere else I've ever been. Masses of huge buildings, underground shopping centres, lots of taxis and people. So many people. But it's so clean. No litter on the streets or anything.
And where are you living? What kind of accommodation have you got?
Well, for the time being, I've been given a tiny apartment, but it's in a great part of town.
What do you mean, for the time being? Will you be moving somewhere else?
That's right. I won't be living here for long. I'll be offered a bigger place as soon as one becomes available, which is good, because this one really is tiny, but at least it's near to where I'm working.
How do you get to work, then? Do you walk?
Walk? You're kidding. It's not that close. It's a short subway ride away. And the trains come so regularly, it's a really easy journey, which is good, because I start work very early in the morning.
It all sounds really interesting, but are you enjoying yourself?
Again, it's too early to say. I think I really will be enjoying it all soon. I'm sure it's going to be a great experience. It's just that I miss everyone at home so much.
Oh, we miss you too, very much. Make sure you email us regularly. It's the best way to keep in touch.
I will, I promise. And you email me back with all your news. I just love getting news from home. Give everyone my love. Bye.
Bye, sweetheart. It's been great talking to you.
Okay, so let's have a look and answer those questions together. I've put up some answers now. I think that from the conversation we know that Kirsty is in Japan. She's talking quite a lot. We know that she's there to work because she talks about her job, and her father is probably in England. It's definitely in England, probably in London, because he just asked her how it compares to London. What I'd like you to do now, before we listen to the tape again, what I'd like you to do is, working in your partners again, I'd like you to just take 5 minutes, and I'd like you to try and work together to complete the conversation. We have all of Kirsty's lines. We have all of her father's. You have heard, all of her father's lines. What I'd like you to do now is try and remember those lines and put them into the conversation. Work together in your partners. Take about 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, now that you should have completed most of the conversation, let's listen to the tape again, and I'd like you to just check your answers against what you hear. Are you ready?
Tape script 1.6. A long-distance phone call.
Hello?
Dad, it's me, Kirsty.
Kirsty, how are you? How's it all going?
I'm fine, but still a bit jet-lagged.
I can imagine. What exactly is the time difference over there?
It's 9 hours ahead. I just can't get used to it. Last night I lay awake all night, and then today I nearly fell asleep at work in the middle of a meeting.
You poor thing. And what's work like?
It's early days, but I think it's going to be really good. It's a big company, but everybody's being so kind and helpful. I've been trying to find out how everything works.
And what about Tokyo? What's it like? Have you seen much of the city yet?
I've seen a bit. It just seems such a big, busy city. I don't see how I'll ever find my way round it.
I know. Big cities can seem really strange and frightening at first. Is it anything like London?
No, it's nothing like London. It's like nowhere else I've ever been. Masses of huge buildings, underground shopping centres, lots of taxis and people. So many people. But it's so clean. No litter on the streets or anything.
And where are you living? What kind of accommodation have you got?
Well, for the time being, I've been given a tiny apartment, but it's in a great part of town.
What do you mean, for the time being? Will you be moving somewhere else?
That's right. I won't be living here for long. I'll be offered a bigger place as soon as one becomes available, which is good, because this one really is tiny, but at least it's near to where I'm working.
How do you get to work, then? Do you walk?
Walk? You're kidding. It's not that close. It's a short subway ride away. And the trains come so regularly, it's a really easy journey, which is good, because I start work very early in the morning.
It all sounds really interesting, but are you enjoying yourself?
Again, it's too early to say. I think I really will be enjoying it all soon. I'm sure it's going to be a great experience. It's just that I miss everyone at home so much.
Oh, we miss you too, very much. Make sure you email us regularly. It's the best way to keep in touch.
I will, I promise. And you email me back with all your news. I just love getting news from home. Give everyone my love. Bye.
Bye, sweetheart. It's been great talking to you.
Okay, now that you've listened to that, you can either ask your teacher to play it again for you one more time if you're not too sure about things, or in order to check what you've written, I'd like you to turn to page 124. I've put that now in the chat box down on the bottom right hand corner. If you please look at page 124, you have the full conversation. I'd like you to just take a few minutes with your partners and just read through that and make sure you have all the right answers. When you have done that, I think we'll finish the lesson here for today, and I'd like you to turn to your workbook for some homework. Okay, once you've found your workbook, I would like you to just turn to page 7. For homework tonight then, I'd like you to do the auxiliary verbs on page 7, as well as have and have got. Then I'd like to look at page 8, please. On page 8 we have some vocabulary and some house and home idioms. Then I'd like you to look at page 9. To finish off your homework then, I'd like you to look at these phrasal verbs on page 9. In case you're not clear, please look again at the chat window in the bottom right hand corner. And you can see one more time, homework is from the workbook, the auxiliary verbs and have got on page 7, the vocabulary and house and home idioms on page 8, and then the phrasal verbs on page 9. Thank you very much for today. I think it's been a good lesson again. So I'll see you again tomorrow or the next lesson where we will carry on with lesson 3. Thank you very much. Have a very good evening and please don't forget your homework. Thank you.